So we've had a few folks also ask, can I store my yarn in cakes? I mean, technically, yes. If it's a nice loose cake, if you can like really squish it and it looks like the yarn kind of stays the same width all throughout, you can assume it's not super heavy. But if you want to wind it back up into a skein because you maybe you have a different project in mind and you're not going to get to that yarn for a little while, they do store a little bit better in skein format. So when you have a cake like this, you can just put it right back on the Swift and get it back into a big loop. I like to pull from the inside if I have the inside yarn available. If you don't see the inside yarn, I'll just dig around and find it. It's a lot easier. The ball will flop around a little bit less as you're winding it back on there. So I also will find something around, a bowl, a basket, something to kind of put the cake in so it's not going to fly around everywhere. And kind of, you want to attach, some Swifts have a little hole on the leg to kind of attach it to, and you can string it through there and hold on to it there. If it doesn't have that, or you have a type of Swift where it might not, you can always just tie a little knot, you know, use a binder clip, do something to kind of secure it on there. And then you're just spinning in the opposite direction. Again, it doesn't matter which direction you're actually spinning, but you do want to get your Swift opened. Oh my god. And some Swifts have this handle, a lot don't. If it doesn't have the handle, you can just push it on the edges. You don't have to do anything crazy. It is going to take a little bit longer than if you are winding it into a cake, but if you're kind of going in this direction, if you have a little handle, maybe get on a stool because you're short and you can't reach all the way. Oh my god. But yeah, you're just going around, putting it right back on the winder. If it's tight, that's fine, because once it gets off the Swift, it'll loosen back up. So you're just going to do this all the way until you get to, it'll loosen up a little bit once you get past the dense center of the ball, and you just winding it in. So once you've got it all the way wound up on your Swift, there's a couple ways you can kind of secure it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it'll make it a lot easier to find your ends. You can always take both ends. If they meet, you could tie them in a little knot. That would be easy. If they don't, you could just loop it around and tuck it in. You don't even have to tie it in a knot or anything. Get your little end that you found there. If you don't find your end, that's okay too. Nothing bad's gonna happen if you don't get it all wound. And cool, so we've got that secure. You can always also take like an extra piece of yarn and just tie a little loop around it so that you know you're secure, tie your knot. It doesn't have to be tight or anything, but you know, that extra level of security, depending on how you store it, can be nice. You'll get it off your Swift. And the fun part of winding it back up into a loop. I like to have one hand in and one finger in, and I just twist my finger, twist, 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 twist as much as, honestly, you can until your finger gets stuck. And then you can always find a friend to help. If you don't, just kind of stick it somewhere in the middle, use a surface, use your Swift, pull the part that was on your finger through the part that was on your hand, and just zhuzh it. And then you've got a skein.